For Joe Azalina, I am Derek Gano. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Just a quick reminder, please follow us on Facebook group, as well as on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. It will definitely help us out. And of course, listen on all podcast platforms. As Joe will mention, but if you missed any of our division previews in previous episodes, and there should be a little link right here that I'm going to put up right now to go out and check. I have a special playlist out there for all six, some with some friends, some with just me and Joe. But Joe, today is our overview of the MLB.
I can't believe we're actually here. The winter has gone. We've talked about it within our, like you just said, and that's an awesome point for the listeners and viewers out there to please go back and take a look at our around the diamond, as we called it. We talked about many positions. We're going to still finish that, by the way, but we did a lot of positions. We talked about each team in each division and what we thought. And like Derek just said, we are going to talk about today. A culmination is the best word. Before tomorrow, on April 1st, as the opening day ceremonies will hopefully commence with decent weather. It's going to be chilly, but decent weather. This is going to be a really, really fun. I don't know, just like it's always fun, but it just seems to me that I don't know. I'm just like a little more amped up for it. I think just because I love the sport and I think I'm just ready for it to begin again. So. And we didn't get a full season last year, Derek. So
yeah,
that's the last thing I'm going to say. So, let's go
let's get it started. So, and again, in case anyone missed any videos, go free to check them out on YouTube. So, Joe, without further ado, let's get it started. So our MLB division by division predictions, these are going to be very brief. So if you want extended explanations, go out and check them out on their individual videos. So we will start with the AL East. Just a few changes here between the two of us. We have both of our top 5 picks for each division. Joe, let's start with the Yankees. We have them as both of our champions of the division. Give us a quick synopsis of the Yankees and why you might have picked them first.
Well, really simple that Garrett Cole and Corey Kluber could have big years. And I just think they're two of the best pitchers they have on their roster, especially Cole. Kluber, depending on his injuries, we'll see. The lineup is incredible if healthy. And again, you say that because already, I think it's Aaron Judge is on the day-to-day list. So, but I don't see anybody in the East touching them. So that's why I have them at number 1.
Yeah, big boppers in that lineup when you Stanton, Judge, LeMahieu, one of the best hitters in baseball right now. Gio Urshela is playing well. I said before, if they can get one of Taillon, Kluber, Severino coming back, if one of them can come back and pitch to the top of their ability, I think they're well on their way. Good bullpen. A lot of young guys to go to pitching wise as well. Clark Schmidt is one of them. Herman. So I would have them as the number 1 in the division. Here's where we split up a little bit, Joe. I'll talk real quick about why I have the Blue Jays, Red Sox, Rays, and then you can talk about why you have the Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox. I love the Blue Jays offense. It's going to be one of the best in Major League Baseball. You can look up and down that lineup. The hitters are just as good as the Yankees. Cavan Biggio, Guerrero, Teoscar Hernandez, Bichette, bringing in Marcus Semien was very helpful. Hyun-Jin Ryu to lead that rotation. After that is where it gets a little iffy with the rotation. Obviously, George Springer coming in. Didn't help that Kirby Yates is now done with Tommy John surgery. That's no good for them. But I like their rotation and their lineup more. I have the Red Sox as number 3 because, and let me just talk about the Rays, I guess, because they traded away a lot of guys. Did the Rays? Well, they obviously traded away Blake Snell. Alvarado is gone. Charlie Morton is gone. Aaron Loop as a part of that bullpen. That's not going to help. Now, a lot of young pitching, but I can't quite trust it. I also do not trust Chris Archer is going to be a part of that rotation. He hasn't pitched well in a few years. Rich Hill can never stay healthy, in my opinion. Still a very good bullpen, and I've never been a huge fan of the hitters. I think Arozarena comes back to the mean a little bit, and I like Boston's lineup so long as JD Martinez can get going. You have Devers there, Verdugo, and Xander Bogaerts. If Chris Sale can come back in the middle of the year and be a good pitcher for them, Ramirez, if he can come and pitch for them, I'm very high on not very high on Boston, but I think they're above 500 this year. Joe, tell us why you have the Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox there.
Well, Tampa got experience last year in the postseason, and I think that's why I leaned a little more to Tampa. We did say, and for people to go back and listen to our show again, we're going to keep telling you that on this episode. Like Brandon Lau and Arozarena and Austin Meadows, those guys have to hit a lot. They have to hit. But I do like their pitching. I know they lost Morton. I know they lost Snell, but Glasnell's going to be fine. I think Archer's going to recreate himself, and Tampa sometimes gets guys to really produce. Chris Archer's come back home, remember. He was drafted by Tampa. So yes. I kind of disagree with you there, but we're going to see. One of us is going to be right there. Diego Castillo's a beast in the bullpen. I don't know. And I don't put it past the Rays to make a move or two either. So I just think Tampa's going to be second. Toronto, the reason I have them 3 is because I don't like Boston. The Blue Jays still have question marks with Biggio and Bichette. They still got to do it at the major league level. But Guerrero's proven he can hit. Their starting pitching scares me, though, and that's why I can't put them ahead of Tampa. I think their starting pitcher scares me more than Tampa, to be honest, because they don't have veterans. They have Robbie Ray, who's hurt right now, and Ryu's really good. They don't have much after that. I think Pearson's the name we mentioned. But the bottom line is this division can go probably one of two ways. Toronto and Tampa are going to control their destiny 2 and 3. Boston's going to be in 4, and I just don't see anything else. And Baltimore, let's not even discuss them because they're not good.
Yeah, and Baltimore, look for guys, Mountcastle, Mancini's back. Besides that, Santander can hit some home runs. Maybe Adley Rushman comes up and makes a debut this year, but
that'd be exciting for Wills.
Pitching is just horrible for Baltimore, and they don't come close
to
other teams. So Baltimore will probably be safe in 5th place. As for the AL Central here, we have just one slight difference. Let's jump to that first, Joe. I have the White Sox followed by the Twins, and I have to get back to saying where I actually have people for the people who are listening. I have the White Sox first, and then the Twins, Royals 3rd, Indians 4th, Tigers 5th. Now the Royals, I really like what the Royals did in the offseason, bringing in Benintendi from the Red Sox. Maybe he can recreate himself. He's been kind of struggling the past few years. Bringing in Mike Minor, Carlos Santana is going to be a good part of that. as well as bringing in back guys like Holland and Wade Davis in the rotation or in the bullpen. I think they're going to have a little bit of a resurgence. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. Jorge Soler is there, and they're going to hit a bunch of home runs, I think. Mondesi still steal a lot of bases. Rotation is a little sketchy. That's what I would be worried about. And the Indians, I don't think are going to be able to hit. I think their outfield is a black hole. Now that Lindor is gone, I think, and Carrasco is gone, I think their pitching staff will be fine. Still have Bieber, still have Plesac, Savali, but I don't love the hitters besides Jose Ramirez. So that's why I had them number 4. Joe, do you want to talk about your side a little bit here?
Sure. So I have the White Sox 1, Minnesota 2, Cleveland 3, Kansas City 4, and Detroit 5. Listen, I think Cleveland, it's very fair because I put down that you lose Santana and you lose Lindor, and that's a lot of production. But you got to remember, Cesar Hernandez is a really good player, and he might really step up. Maybe you get a really big contribution from Ahmed Rosario. He's another name that has to step up. Ramirez, you mentioned. Franmil Reyes is going to be important to the DH position. Mm-hmm. The outfield is really tough. I still think they could get a bat somehow. But you said it. Bieber, Savali, Plesac, Roberto Perez, the catcher there, he'll have those guys firing on all cylinders. I mean, I just think Kansas City hasn't shown me much, and I'm just not going to bank on, Mondesi's going to tear it up, and then you got Bennett. They have a lot of moving parts coming in. They all got to gel.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's the only thing. I guess I'm just saying status quo. In Minnesota, they're going to be really good. If Sano can hit home runs, Garver has power. We talked about it again on our AL Central preview. But I'll tell you right now, Derek, the Chicago White Sox could be a beast in this division, led by Giolito. I mean, you go around the diamond, and it's so fun and just magical. And you got Moncada, and I mean, yeah, Jimenez is hurt, but you got even the outfielder. I can't think of his name right now. That's really going to make me mad. Thank you, Robert. You know, Adam Eaton is back in Chicago, mm-hmm. And then led by their skipper Tony La Russa, and I didn't even mention Yasmani Grandal. I mean, yeah, I like the White Sox a lot at the top. I'm sure you do too. I think they'll run away with it.
Yeah, I think that they have a very strong bullpen. Up and down lineup is going to be great. Look for Andrew Vaughn to be a big part of the lineup, rookie this year, especially now that Eloy Jimenez went down. He's going to be out for a bunch of months. But I still think that they're going to just get up and go, and especially in this division. Amazing bullpen. We talked about all the names in that bullpen. And look for Giolito to be potentially a top of the league pitcher this year. As far as the Twins, I guess it's going to be. They got a couple guys who are older. Donaldson, 35, Cruz, 40 years old now. Maeda is 33. J. Happ is 38. Schumacher, 34. Pineda, 32. We'll see. We'll see if that rotation can hold up. But I still love that lineup, and bringing in Colomé to back into that bullpen should be pretty darn good. And then we both have the Tigers at the bottom. Minor league farm is great. So Tigers fans have that to look forward to. Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal, I believe, are already a part of the rotation to start the season. Matt Manning is not far behind. They're going to have a ton of pitching coming up very soon to look forward to. But for now, this year, I think we're both agreed that number 5 will be the Tigers. As far as the AL West, we both have the Astros winning the division, but who comes number 2 is slightly different for both of us. I have the LA Angels as number 2, Oakland Athletics 3rd, Seattle Mariners 4th, and Texas Rangers 5th. Joe, tell us a little bit about your top 2 there, the Astros and the Athletics.
I mean, I believe both in Houston and Oakland, and I think they're both they're not like totally similar, but they both have question marks in the same spots. They need their guys to really produce in the lineup. Altuve, Brantley, and Bregman for Houston, Gurriel too, and Yordan Alvarez, who we talked about in the ALS preview. Oakland needs Olsen, Chapman, Cannon. See like a theme there? Like they need their big guys to produce. They're pitching. Both of them have guys that they don't know what they're going to get, except for Greinke and maybe Bassett. They don't know what they're getting from Montez or the other lefty that
Luzardo.
Geez, it's tough when Luzardo. It's tough when you don't have the notes right in front of you, Derek. And then Houston with having the guy like Greinke at the top, but then they have Valdez and Javier. I know of those two, and McCullers would be fine. I don't know. That could be a really interesting race. What do you think about? You have a totally different thing there at number 2 there.
Yeah, well, I'm going with the Astros. I love the power in their lineup. They're going to hit for average, balanced, ton of rotation depth when everyone's healthy. Unfortunately, Valdez is down for a bit, and Verlander's Tommy John. When James comes back, they brought in Baez. Obviously, Presley is still there, so they have a ton of good arms there in the bullpen as well as pitchers. I went with the Angels number 2. I really think that this will be a year for Mike Trout. They're bringing in the Iglesias's, Raycil to back end that rotation. I don't completely love the rotation, no. Guys like Bundy and Heaney are going to have to step up. Quintana. I really think highly of Shohei Ohtani this year. I think he's going to be a great hitter for them. I think he's going to give them some quality innings as well, pitching wise. I love Rendon. I love Ohtani and Trout there in the lineup. Justin Upton still has some to give. Maybe Joe Adell comes up and plays well. I think highly of the Angels, and I think that they can finish second in this division. I'm questioning the Athletics. We talked about in our AL West preview the other day how they don't really have anyone who's going to hit for average. That scares me against good pitching. I think they could be shut down. They have a great bullpen, though. They can hit a ton of home runs. They lack for speed, that's for sure, but also some young arms coming up, but untested rotation. So as well as losing guys like Marcus Semien, Liam Hendricks, La Stella, that's not going to be easy for them. I don't think it's the Mariners' year yet. I love what they're doing. A couple young guys are going to be coming up. I talked about how they're going to be balanced offensively. The young guys are coming, another 6-man rotation, and they're having fun. They look like they're going to be a fun team to watch, that's for sure. Not quite yet for the Mariners, but I think Kelenic comes in and plays very well in the next month, and will probably be there for another 10 years, hopefully. So, and then I think, Joe, we can both agree that unfortunately the Rangers don't have much to look forward to. They have a couple young guys coming up, but it's really just Joey Gallo, right, for the Rangers.
Yeah, and Joey Gallo is a strikeout or a home run. That's what he is. He always has been that way. Yeah, they let Minor go. They let Lance Lynn go. We said it the other day. They're rebuilding. But guys to look out for is the outfielder they have. Ladeus, Taveras. Yeah. And they just don't scream, "Oh my God, we're going to even take 4th place." It would be a real bummer if Seattle moves back to 5th because they don't. Yeah. They're really not that bad. But yeah, not much more to say about Texas. So I think if you're ready, Derek, we got to go to the NL.
I almost wanted to put Seattle above Oakland, but I don't want to be a homer. I'm wearing all my Mariners stuff, but I almost wanted to do it, but I couldn't quite do it. I don't really like Oakland this year.
I
You
love
can't
it.
never count Oakland out, but next up is the
They're scrappy.
NL East. We are very different in the NL East. Let's run through the 1 through 5 just to start of what we each have. I have the Atlanta Braves winning it, and then the New York Mets is number 2. Philadelphia Phillies number 3, Washington Nationals number 4, and Miami Marlins number 5. And Joe, what do you have 1 through 5?
Well, I have the Atlanta Braves first, and then I have the Phillies coming in second and hopefully fighting for a wild card. I have the Mets third, the Marlins fourth, and the Nationals fifth.
So obviously the first difference we'll start with is I have the Mets second and the Phillies third. You have the Phillies second, the Mets third. I'll attack you with I like the Mets rotation more than I like the Phillies rotation. I'm not completely sold yet on Eflin. I know he had one good or a good year, but I'm not. And I like the back end of especially once Syndergaard comes back, and obviously Stroman is there. Carrasco is injured for now. Once he comes back, Drew Peterson is still there. I like that rotation better than I do the Phillies back end, especially with Moore and Anderson. They're nice pieces, but not what the Mets have, I don't think. And I don't think I think the Phillies have a very good lineup. You'll mention some of those names, but I think the Mets lineup might be just a tad bit better at all spots. I know the Phillies defense is not too great, and I think I might like the bullpen of the Mets a little bit better. Everything's just a little bit better, but I think it's ultimately going to put them above the 2, above the Phillies. Joe, tell me why the Phillies are going to be the number 2 over the Mets.
I mean, I had a hard time talking myself into it because I do believe the Mets are really good, and it starts with Lindor and it ends probably with DeGrom. I mean, I don't know though. I don't know. Okay, so DeGrom, Carrasco's hurt, so he can't pitch. Stroman's probably your 2. You mentioned Peterson. I think they have Lucchesi from San Diego, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah.
So he might enter in there somewhere. A lot of people, and I guess this is the homer view, but a lot of people are really, and I'm not saying you are because I think you're very fair, but a lot of people
we can fight a little bit in this episode, Joe. That's fine.
All right. A lot of people are I think a lot of people are underrating the Phillies in a way. People are forgetting that Aaron Nola almost won a Cy Young a couple years ago. You know, him and DeGrom are going to go head to head. Like that's going to be interesting.
DeGrom is winning Cy Youngs.
Yeah, right. And no spoiler, but he could be winning mine too. Listen, Zach Wheeler might be the key to this rotation. If he pitches really good and he can have like in a lights out year, we might be sitting there saying, well, the Phillies are right there because of Zach Wheeler being a former Met, and how funny it is when these guys change uniforms, they have chips on their shoulders, and Zach Wheeler wants to win. Eflin, I agree with you. He hasn't put a whole season together. I can't argue that. But I don't know. The Mets lineup, as good as it is on paper, is Alonso going to have a big year? Because I'll tell you right now, Bryce Harper is fixed to have a big year. A lot of people are saying it. I want to know what they do with Bohm. Does he hit 4th, 5th, or 6th? JT Realmuto needs to come up big, and Andrew McCutchen needs to stay healthy. The Phillies probably have more question marks, but I think the Phillies are very talented, and that's why, as much as they're my favorite team, that's why I put them at 2. And the bullpen scares me. I'm not going to lie. The bullpen still scares me.
And then we have a flip in 4-5. I have Nationals, Marlins. You have Marlins, Nationals. Obviously the Marlins made the playoffs last year. I'll take the Nationals. I mean, and I said it in, wow, it feels so long ago that we talked with.
Yeah, that was a long time
the
ago.
NL East, but you can't do much better than Soto, Turner, and Josh Bell. Schwarber, we'll see what we get out of Schwarber. Obviously, not a ton defensively, but he's still a great power hitter for Washington. And then they have a lot of veteran guys to fill in spaces. Starling Castro is going to be the starting third baseman. Keyboom got sent down. Josh Harrison is at second base right now. Yan Gomes, Ryan Zimmerman's still there. And yeah, they have Scherzer and Corbin and Strasburg and Lester. I'm putting a lot on that rotation because they don't have any depth in the rotation. I mean, I still think they finished fourth. It's not like I think they go any higher than that because one of them is ultimately going to go down. But I think it's going to win them enough games. I think Scherzer pitches amazing this year, probably to keep that rotation afloat a little bit. I like Brad Hand. I like Tyler Rainey, Daniel Hudson in the bullpen. No young guys coming up, but I do worry that if they're not in it, they may trade some pieces away. But the Marlins, I think they have a lot of youth in that rotation, and I think there could be some innings limits there. And I think the youth is wonderful to see. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. Someone like Jazz Chisholm, who won the second base job, is going to be very fun to watch. They got a lot of older guys in that lineup until the younger guys are ready to come up. But I love the rotation. Don't get me wrong. I mean, even the Phillies, I love the Phillies players. I love the Marlins team, but I just happen to like Washington a little bit more than Miami. Joe, tell us why you think Miami is going to finish fourth.
Yeah, and real quick, I'll start with why Washington's fifth for me, and that's just because they're aging a lot of these guys, like you said. Yeah. Soto and Turner are the best two players on their team, and they got to perform at high levels. But Strasburg, he seems to be hurt a lot, nagging injuries. Scherzer's back's never healthy, but he's one of the best in baseball. No doubt about it. Can't argue that. Miami's really good because Brian Anderson's a really good player. He's been really good at third base. I think Corey Dickerson's been a good ad for them, and Starling Marte's going to be fun to watch. They got younger guys. They need guys like Jorge Alfaro to step up. They're pitching. They don't have Sixto early. They set him down, so they wanted to work on things. But Pablo Lopez is okay. They don't have that, like, big-time player, too. They're good. They're good as a unit, though.
I will just say maybe that's why I also have Washington above. I think the studs are better on Washington than what Miami has yet. Maybe eventually Miami will be up there, but they did make the playoffs last year. But
Derek, we forgot one team. Did we do that on purpose?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the Braves really briefly.
About the Braves,
because I have a feeling we'll be talking about them later. Amazing lineup that could probably even resemble the Dodgers lineup. Max Fried and Ian Anderson, and bringing in Charlie Morton for that rotation. Not to mention someone like Wilson, who is on the rotation. Smiley. They have a lot, and Soroka.
Yeah,
doesn't even need to be up. He can take his time coming back from that Achilles injury. Because they have a ton of pitching there. I love the Braves this year. And unfortunately, I don't know how close it's going to be it could be potentially a 10-game difference between first and second place. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
Sure. You know, when you have a team like Atlanta, they all seem to get along. They enjoy each other. They have a camaraderie about them. Freddie Freeman and Darno and Swanson and Albies and Acuna. Now Pache's involved. I mean, it's going to be hard to watch him 19 times. I mean, you know, I went to a game a couple of years ago, Derek, and I left in the fifth inning because it was 11-1. And, you know, I mean, they really can put it on in a hurry. The thing with Atlanta is you got to get to them early. That's the problem with the Braves. You just like a good team, you got to get to them. But no, I agree with it. They might win the division by 10 or 12, 13 games.
And no spoiler, this is the only division where we are actually different in who we think is going to win it. I have the
Wow.
Milwaukee Brewers winning this
Wow.
division, and then
My
St. Louis Cardinals second, Chicago Cubs third, Reds, Cincinnati Reds fourth, and Pittsburgh Pirates five. Joe, real quick, do you want to run through your 1 through 5?
Yes, and this is my first time I saw Derek, so this is very interesting to the viewers out there. Number 1, the St. Louis Cardinals, led by Nolan Arenado. Number 2, the Milwaukee Brewers, led by Christian Yelich. Number 3, the Cincinnati Reds, led by whoever's on their team. Number 4, the Chicago Cubs, fire sale themselves. And number 5, the Pittsburgh Pirates, because they don't keep any of their players.
So let's build up to it a little bit this time, Joe. So obviously the Pirates, we have at number 5. I mean, they're going to be young. They don't really have much pitching. Ke'Bryan Hayes is someone who's to look forward to, and this year going to be a potential Gold Glover. But besides that, Joe, not too much to look forward to for Pirates fans. They're probably going to struggle this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to maybe beat the Cubs and the Reds a little bit, but they're not going to have a hard time with the Cardinals and the Brewers, right? They just can't compete with these teams. I would have loved for them to hang on to Archer just because it would have helped them. Not for him. He's going to win now, or at least have a better chance to win. But guys like and this is going to be hard, but I think they have a guy in the outfield named Dickerson, maybe. Is that correct? I want to say Brian Reynolds is definitely out there somewhere.
Reynolds, Frazier at second base.
Frazier, yeah. Right. Some of these guys are just going to hit a little bit, but it's sad. The Pirates organization is just very, very – they never do the right thing, Derek. They never do the right thing. It's the bottom line.
So we have 3-4 are also switched. I have the Cubs number 3. You have the Reds number 3. I'll talk real quick. Yes, I completely understand probably what you're even going to say. The Cubs, if they start off slow, are probably going to fire sale a lot of these guys. But I think that they're going to start off pretty decently, actually. I think this is going to start off as kind of a 3-team race, and then the Cubs are going to fade away a little bit because they don't have as much pitching as the Brewers and the Cardinals do. But I still love the lineup. Ian Happ, Contreras, and Rizzo, Chris Bryant, bringing in Jock Peterson is going to be a big deal. Javi Baez, and then Hendricks is still there. I don't love the rest of the rotation. Otherwise, I would have him higher. But Arrieta, Zach Davies, bullpen isn't great with Kimbrel. Kimbrel is the best one out there, probably. Brandon Workman, Ryan Tepera, not a ton out there in bullpen wise. Joe, tell us a little bit about why you like the Reds more than the Cubs.
Well, I've always been a big fan of Mike Moustakas. That's number 1. I really like him. They are interesting. They got Iglesias at short. Suarez could have a big year. He's a really good hitter, power guy. Winkler's okay in the outfield. Senzel needs to arrive now. He needs to put something together. They got question marks. Their pitching is led by Castillo, who might not be a Red by the end of the season. They have Sonny Gray, who's been pretty good. Like, they have, like, the Reds remind me of, like, a movie that you really want to watch, but then you're not going to get so excited for when you're really watching it. But I still like them better than Chicago. I'm not buying the Cubs. I'm buying the Reds and selling the Cubs, Derek. That's what I'm saying, essentially. So,
yeah, I mean, they're moving Eugenio Suarez to shortstop this year, actually, because Iglesias got shipped out. But Suarez, Moustakas, Castellanos is still there. I really don't like the rotation because Gray is already hurt. So Taylor Mahle, Jeff Hoffman, Wade Miley, Jose De Leon are not interesting names to me. They shipped out a lot of players that we've talked about before, one of which Archie Bradley went to the Phillies.
Right, they didn't sign Didi. They could have signed Didi.
A lot is gone, and I just don't like the Reds too much. But we do have a different winner for the division. Let me tell you why I like the Milwaukee Brewers. Um, I guess you can start with Christian Yelich, as you said. You might have
Yeah,
said, "Wow, the Cardinals led by Arenado." Well,
but some
Milwaukee's led
Brewers.
by Christian Yelich. I think they're going to be very good defensively. I think they brought in Colton Wong, who's won a number of Gold Gloves. Lorenzo Cain is great in center field, and they brought in Jackie Bradley, who's great defensively. I mean, Keston Hira sucks, but that's why he got moved to first base. So, um, but Christian
Vogelbach.
Yelich, yes, and then yeah, Vogelbach too. He's probably not very good defensively, but led by someone who is in your honorable mentions, I believe, for top 5 pitchers, Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns this
Yes.
year. I love that duo as much as maybe any duo out there in the National League. I really like those two. The question is, what are you going to get out of the rest of the rotation? Adrian Hauser had, I know, a 3.72 ERA in 2019. Brett Anderson is solid. Freddie Peralta, maybe he can be a little bit better this year. But they have maybe 4 of the better pitchers in the National League: Woodruff, Burns, and then Hader and Devin Williams in that bullpen. I love them. The lefty Suter is also very good. So, I mean, do I love the Brewers as much as maybe the other top teams in the NL? No, not quite, but I love them the most in this division. Joe, tell us about the Cardinals.
Well, I will tell you this. Like the addition of Nolan Arenado is humongous to me. Like he's such a great player.
Yeah.
He's probably arguably the best player, third baseman in baseball right now. Um, they did lose Wong. It's interesting. He went to a rival. That's really interesting,
Yeah.
I think. But they're going to be fine there. What are they going to get from Carpenter? Is he done? Or you don't hear a lot about him anymore. Harrison Bader's an upcoming player. You have guys like that. I don't know. Yeah, Yachty will be interesting. They have Paul DeYoung on my fantasy team, by the way. He's a good player. They have Flaherty and Wainwright. That's your one. I mean, not Wainwright might not be number 2, but they still have him. Where does Carlos Martinez fit? I just think Derek, the Cardinals know how to win. They just know how to win. Nobody thought they would get to the playoffs as far as they did 2 years ago, and they absolutely destroyed the Braves. And I'll tell you, I don't think Atlanta wants to see him again. So that's why I have them. But I agree with your Brewers pick. The Brewers are really good, and I'm not going to argue too much with this one.
I just don't quite trust the back end of that rotation as much as I trust. I mean, it's not very good in Milwaukee, but I don't even know if Carlos Martinez, what you can get out of him. Who the heck? Kim is injured right now. Mikolas is injured. Ponce de Leon. They have a good bullpen. I like Alex Reyes, Gallegos, Andrew Miller, Jordan Hicks, very good, but just slightly. And maybe you'll see with a couple of my individual awards a little later. Maybe you'll see why I like the Brewers. Which will bring us to the NL West, and
here we go.
Derek. We kind of have some similarities. We don't really need to talk much about the top 2.
No.
The Dodgers won the championship last year, World Series last year, and they added a Cy Young winner when Trevor Bauer, so they're that much better. Great lineup. Everyone's back pretty much except for Hernandez, who went to Boston. The Padres are brought in a ton of pitching. Blake Snell, Yu Darvish. They still have Lamet there. Clevenger is injured for the year, but hitting wise, Joe, the Padres are just as good as anyone, or is that a little maybe the reason why we don't have have them as high as the Dodgers?
Well, for me, And I look at this and I really hope I'm right in a way. Like Colorado could be good, but losing Arenado is going to hurt them. I think that's kind of a big thing, right? But I don't love the Colorado lineup because you have Blackman and Story, and who else do you have? McMahon and Hampson, and they don't
Why do you have him
Tapia.
third then, Joe?
Well, I don't love Arizona too much either.
Okay,
So it's kind of like least resistance to me. I don't love the Arizona. I mean, what's Bumgarner going to give you? Like both rotations. I mean, I know Freeland's pretty good for Colorado. So there, like I'm okay there, and John Gray's been hurt a lot. The West is just the top two. To me, I don't care where anybody else falls. You know what I mean? I don't see anybody else taking that second spot.
No, they're nowhere close. I mean, I have the Dodgers 3 or the Giants 3. You have them 5. I said in the AL West show with Phil Gunther that I really didn't like the Giants this year because I think they have an old lineup who hasn't even with people who haven't even been around very long. Posey probably should not be a catcher anymore. Brandon Crawford probably shouldn't be starting shortstop anymore. Longoria shouldn't be a starting third baseman anymore. But they have a couple good, decent hitters from last year. Yastrzemski, Alex Dickerson is pretty decent. I don't think you're going to get a ton out of that rotation. I don't really like it at all. But I think all these guys are way below the 1 and 2. And then Arizona, I mean, Arizona has, I'm sure Marte is going to come back and have a better year this year. I don't mind the start of that rotation in Bumgarner. Zach Gallen is going to be very good, underrated pitcher this year. Can Weaver come back and have a better year than he did last year? I don't mind that. Christian in the back end of the bullpen. I don't mind Arizona, but I like the Giants slightly better, and I think the Rockies are very much going to struggle. And I think, as you said, they're probably going to sell off Blackman. They might sell off Story. Who the heck knows? They could be very bad. But that'll finish up our top 5. I don't know if I technically said, but I have Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks, Rockies. Joe has Dodgers, Padres, Rockies, Diamondbacks, and Giants, which will bring us to the MLB. Let me move this over so people can see. Award predictions. Joe, now, okay. To be fair, I think it's going to be Mike Trout, but I tried to be a little different and come with something else. AL MVP, pick. I went with Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge, when obviously fully healthy, I think he was like number 3 or 4 in, what was that, 2018 when he had a huge year, 52 home runs. If he's fully healthy, I think he's as talented as anyone in baseball, offensively at least. And I think he's going to be I think he stays. I bet he stays healthy this year, and I give the AL MVP to Aaron Judge. Joe, Mike Trout.
Well, it's really tough for me to sit there and say this isn't like an 80% chance. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. He didn't play a whole season last year. He's not banged up coming into the season. And Derek, you got to think he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to continue to win or try to win. And he can win another MVP another MVP. So I just went with one of the best players to ever play the game.
And tell us about your NL MVP.
All right, now this would hurt a little bit, but listen, he's one of the best players in baseball, and he's just like only 23, 24 years old. I have Washington outfielder Juan Soto as my MVP from the National League. Derek, do you think that's a possibility?
You better be putting up big numbers if you have Washington coming in last in the division.
True. It happens though. It happens.
No, it does happen. So I mean, I remember when Felix Hernandez was 500 and won the Cy Young. So it happens.
It doesn't always happen, Derek. It doesn't always happen.
I went with someone who people are kind of sleeping on. I feel like I think Soto and Tatis is getting a lot of love, but let's not forget about Christian Yelich. He won the MVP in 2019 and came in second in 20. He won in 2018, second in 2019, hitting 326 and 329, 36 and 44 home runs. He is a amazing player, and I think he struggled a little bit last year, couldn't quite get it started, but Christian Yelich is still one of the best players in Major League Baseball. And that is part of the reason, as I teased, why I think the Milwaukee Brewers win the NL Central is Christian Yelich. I probably cheated a little bit here. Garrett Cole's probably the favorite to win the AL Cy Young, but especially with the potential of the Yankees rotation being a little sketchy with all their injury history, I think Garrett Cole is really going to have to put his stamp down and finally win his. It's not technically cheating, right? If he's never won a Cy Young before. So I think this is finally the year for Garrett Cole to win the rotation or win the Cy Young for the Yankees. Joe, you went with someone else who I actually thought about, and I think he's going to have a very good year as well.
I have a guy that if he pitches the way he's capable of, as what we've seen so far in his career, that Lucas Giolito from the Chicago White Sox can make his team have a huge run in the playoffs. They're set to win, Derek. The Chicago White Sox are here, and Lucas Giolito is a big reason why. So I got the hard-throwing right-hander in my AL Cy Young candidate here.
And your AL Cy Young, that one might be I'll call a little bit of a cheat there, but yeah, that's
I didn't go to Philly
one, right? That's true. You didn't go to Philly.
I mean, I've seen him 19 times a year, and every time he pitches, I just want to close my eyes because I know what's going to happen. New York Mets right-hander, and my boss at school will be very happy. Jacob deGrom. Shout out to Mr. G. Yeah, he's dominant. There's just no doubt about it. Long hair, no hair, hat on the head. It doesn't matter. The guy's a great pitcher. I just,
Yeah, I kind of went a little. I think it's going to be deGrom too, but I tried to be a little different here. I'm going with Jack Flaherty. I
like that.
Let me go with a division that is the worst. And that's the Central. They have the Cubs.
He's talented, Derek.
Cubs, the Reds, and the Pirates. But yes, let's not forget he finished fourth in the Cy Young voting in 2019. He had 231 strikeouts and 196 innings. He is a stud. He has a great curveball. I think he's going to really lead that rotation for St. Louis. And while he may come in second to Jacob deGrom, ultimately, I think Jack Flaherty is going to have a very good year this year. We picked the home run champion as to who in Major League Baseball is going to hit the most home runs. I went with Ronald Acuna Jr., partially because he does hit leadoff, so he's going to have the most chances to do it. But stud in Atlanta. It could actually be several people on that team. If you look at Marcell Ozuna or Freddie Freeman, they have a lot of guys who could potentially do it. But I went with Ronald Acuna Jr., someone who could also be in the NL MVP race. But Joe, here was your only real homer pick, right?
Well,
you said you really like him this year, though.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. Two years ago, all anybody said is, if the Phillies get this player, we're going to win a World Series. And here we are 3 years later, we're not in a World Series. And you know what?
Yeah.
Larry Bowa said he might have 50 home runs this year. Now, that's a lot. But I can see Bryce Harper as my pick hitting 35 to 40. Do you ever notice when he hits the ball how hard he hits the ball?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. And I'll say this too. I never liked him in Washington. I don't know, being a Phillies fan, I just never did. Bryce Harper's a cool guy. Like he's not an arrogant superstar. I mean, I know people might argue this is going to get a lot of comments, hopefully, but to me, you hear him talk. He's always about the team, and yes, maybe he might do some. He's a little like flashy, and he wears the weird batting gloves. He'll get a Fanatic shoes, or he'll do something tomorrow, probably. But he really loves the game, and he's a student of the game. And I don't know. I'm going to plug Bryce Harper here. I hope he has a huge year, and hey, hit 35, and I'll look good.
Now, I thought you were actually going to go, and someone else I would look out for is Juan Soto, because he freaking hits asteroids with some of his home runs. It's pretty insane. Now, AL Coach of the Year, I went with Tony La Russa. I think he's going to come back, and I think that the White Sox are going to play very well under him. A lot of the youth that's out there, and I mean, a lot of people questioned it whether or not his style is going to fit in, but I think he's going to do very well. Joe, you went with another pick, which is also a very solid pick, I would say.
When I said to Phil Engel on our show, the AL East, I meant it. The Yankees are a beast, and I'm sticking to it. Aaron Boone is my pick, and it's not even close. I just think he's going to get the just due he deserves. He's a really good manager, son of Bob Boone, former Phillies catcher, and brother of Brett Boone, former Mariner great. But Aaron Boone he's been around the game. He's won already in New York. And Derek, he's about to win, I think, big this year.
And then NL Coach of the Year, I went with Brian Snitker in Atlanta. I think that they may win that division pretty handily, as I said. So I went with him in Atlanta. Oh, I guess I missed this one. Yeah, Joe, you have a second homer pick here for the NL Coach of the Year.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you that Atlanta's going to win the division. I'd be crazy. They're the reigning champs, and somebody's got to dethrone them. But Joe Girardi has a bullpen he can hopefully work with, a lineup that could be scary, and a pitching staff that hopefully is decent or better than decent. I will tell you right now, Joe Girardi's my pick. And if they get to the wild card game, he'd do more than any manager since Charlie Manuel. So, come on, Joe.
And that will bring us to our playoff picture. We're going to start with my AL playoff picture here real quick because we already talked about these teams. In the wild card series in the AL, I have the number 4 seeded Twins and the number 5 seed. Yes, the Los Angeles Angels are going to make the playoffs. In my opinion, I'm going for it, Joe. Hopefully they get a pitcher or something, because I'm not sure they'll do it otherwise, but I'm putting the Angels in, which means I left out both the Rays and the Blue Jays. I don't think the Blue Jays have enough pitching, and I think the Rays take a step back this year.
Derek, quick question.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah.
I just want to ask you. You just said the Angels they would need a pitcher. Do you have any names that you think of? Because off the top of my head, who would you?
Well, in last episode, I think I mentioned a few. Kyle Hendricks, maybe if the Cubs do go down.
That's a good one.
Maybe a Herman Marquez would be a good fit for them if they're pitching pretty bad. Could be someone like a Bumgarner.
I mean, he's a veteran, right?
Kevin Gausman is not much better than what's there, but
no, that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. And so I have the Twins beating them though because I like Maeda in a game against whoever they're throwing out there right now. Divisional series, I have the Yankees getting the best record in the AL. And they face the 4-seeded Twins, and I have the Yankees winning that one. And then I have both the White Sox and the Astros winning their divisions. The White Sox taking the 2 seed and beating the Astros in the divisional series, which gives me a AL championship series of the Yankees and the White Sox. And I will let you know in just a little bit who I have winning. But first, we have Joe's AL playoff picture.
All right. So I have the Rays at 4 here and the Twins at 5. Just like Derek, I don't think the Blue Jays are going to do enough. They'll be fun to watch, though, and I'll be interested to see how they do. Okay, that wasn't good. The Rays and the Twins. I have
But
the Rays and the Twins.
we talked about the Angels, but no A's either. I know you had them second in the division, so no Athletics quite on the level of them either, right?
No, I guess they just don't. Well, I think losing Simeon's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
I also don't know if they had pitching. Like, and you named some good names there, Marquez, Hendricks. These two teams might need pitching too. So again, look for, and what happens if the Phillies fall out of the race? What happens if the Mets are Stroman's already been on the move one time, so you don't know. You never know. And the Nationals have those guys too. So, then the Rays I have beating the Twins because I just think the experience again helps them. Their bats get lively. I have the Astros at 2 and the White Sox at 3, and I did that just because I think the Astros veterans are going to step up, and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder from the cheating scandal and all this stuff. The White Sox are really talented though, and as we'll see in a little bit, I have the White Sox actually beating the Astros there. And I have the Yankees over the Rays in a 1-4 matchup. I just like New York. And Derek, like you, it's Yankees White Sox. Yeah.
So then in the NL playoff picture, this may be a little different for us. I have the number 4 seeded Padres and the 5 seed. I have the Mets getting in over I think I had the Cardinals as the second team in the Central, but I don't think they're as high as the Mets. And then give me Jacob deGrom, Joe. Give me Jacob deGrom in a must-win game. That's the only reason why I picked the Mets to win this. I think the Padres are unfortunately destined to be in this wild card series. And then, unfortunately, the Mets, I think, defeat them. They'll go on to play the 1-seeded Dodgers, but in a 7-game series, I don't think they can beat the Dodgers. And then I have the Braves beating the Brewers. Although I think that could potentially make it to 7 games, I think the 2 studs for the Brewers might be better than the studs that the Braves are going to throw out there. But I did go chalk, a little bit with and I have the Dodgers and the Braves in the NL Championship Series. Who makes it to the World Series? We'll see in a little bit. First, Joe's NL playoff picture.
Well, I have the 4-5 matchup a little different. I do have San Diego there, but I have the Phillies at 5 just because I'm a homer and just because I hope they're there.
And you would get yelled at if you didn't put them in.
Yeah, my brother wouldn't be too happy with me. Also, I do have them losing though, so I might hear that too. Tatis Machado too much. I think the Phil's bats go quiet in this matchup. I also think Nolan Wheeler to get kind of found out, if you will. And Eflin doesn't matter so much. The 2-3, the Dodgers Cardinals. I like St. Louis, but not against LA. And then 1-4 Braves Padres. Derek, how do we not like the Braves again? Like, I mean, the Padres are really good, but they proved that they couldn't do it last year. So what makes us think they're going to do it this year? Not Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
A lot of people are going to say, so you think the Braves more wins than the Dodgers?
Oh, no. Because the National League East is going to get to the Braves, I think. I think everybody's going to beat up on each other. But I do think they take care of business outside the division. And they're going to still beat the Mets and Phillies. They'll beat the Nationals and Marlins. They take care of business. But no, the Dodgers are. But it's going to give us the matchup again.
Right.
It's going to give us the matchup of Brave Dodgers, which you see on the graphic there. And
first, we'll go to my World Series, and that would have been we both kind of had the same 4. I had the Yankees and the White Sox, and then the Braves and the Dodgers. World Series predictions. I went a little different. I went with the Yankees winning against the White Sox, and then the Braves are going to beat the LA Dodgers. Joe, I have some stats here for you.
Oh boy.
Yankees last in the World Series in 2009. I don't know if that's kind of hard to believe. And
That's
before
Phillies Yankees.
that, it was 2000. Obviously, they have the most World Series championships with 27. The Braves' last
That's
World Series was 1995.
against the Yankees.
Yes, and since then, they've won 14 times in the division, including 10 times in a row from 96 to 2005. They made their first NLCS last year in 2001 after winning the championship, of course. Since 1966, the Atlanta Braves have won one World Series. They won one as the Boston Braves and they won one as the Milwaukee Braves. The fate of the Braves and the Yankees always seem to be a little intertwined because you
True.
have how the Braves
True.
were one of the most dominant teams in the 90s, but they only won one championship, which was a season before the Yankees dynasty began with, all their studs in the 90s. The 57 Braves, they won a few World Series in a row, but then once the 50s Yankees came on, they started to win. Joe, and by the way, the last back-to-back champion was the 98 through 2000 Yankees. So I don't think that the Dodgers are going to do it again. Give me, and I don't think I have the thing to show it, but give me the Atlanta Braves. I think the Atlanta Braves are going to win the World Series this year in 7 games and take down the Yankees.
Great.
Joe, you're a little bit different. You went the complete opposite.
Well, and I thought it was interesting. You said the Yankees last played in 2000. Was that the Mets or the Diamondbacks?
Ooh, I don't. I think it would have been the Mets, but I'm not.
How funny is that? In 2000, it was the Mets. In 2009, it was the Phillies. And if you are right, in 2021, it could be the Braves. That's all 3 divisional teams in the NL East.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, Derek, I disagree with you, respectively, of course. I have the Chicago White Sox beating the New York Yankees. I love Giolito. I've been a fan of his since he was young. I think he's grown up. I think La Russa is going to be such a steadying hand for this team. Grandal is going to be comfortable with him. I just like Chicago's speed. I like Madrigal. Moncada might end up being more of a star than everybody thinks. But Derek, there's an old saying: when it's not broke, don't fix it. And the LA Dodgers are not broke by any sort, unless AJ Pollock would get hurt, and you have all scenarios. But they have so many good players; it's unbelievable. And I would say, as my grandmother, hopefully listening to this in heaven, would say, the Dodgers are always her team. So, Grandma, I hope they do it for you, and I think they will, Derek. I think they win it 2 years in a row. I think the LA Dodgers are World Series champs.
Fair enough. Now, so we can. I think we have a few minutes so we can quickly debate. I think so. The reason I have the Braves, I really don't think Bauer is going to be Cy Young material this year. That is my humble opinion, and
he's a key.
I think he played the Central last year, which was a little weak. Even though 4 teams made the playoffs, but none of them were really that good offensively.
Right.
But I love the rotation of the Braves with, we mentioned Fried, Morton, Soroka is coming back, and Anderson and Wilson and Smiley.
It doesn't stop.
The bullpen might be a little weaker. I think like Melanson left, but I think they'll be all right. And I think that
the lineup is as good as anybody.
I might like the lineup a little bit better than I do the Dodgers, but and then the Yankees. I just think it's the Yankees' time. I think Judge,
Garrett Cole,
and Cole are really going to lead them to a World Series, but I don't think they're quite going to get there. I don't think they're quite going to win it because and I don't know. I feel like their hitting isn't quite. I think two of the two best teams in Major League Baseball, I think again, are in the National League. I think it's the Dodgers and the Braves, and then maybe the Yankees. But I suppose
it's going to be interesting.
That'll do it. Should be a very good year, Joe. And it starts.
I'm excited to cover it.
April 1st. It is no April Fools. It's
no April Fools.
April 1st.
Baseball
but Joe, final thoughts.
Wow. I mean, it's so funny because like you wait all this time, you wait for all the snow to come, you wait till all the snow to go away. And even kids at work are like, oh my God, it's so nice outside. I can't wait to go outside. And I'm like a kid, like I can't wait. I'll be so disappointed if this rain really hampers tomorrow. I hope the rain happens in the morning and overnight and we have decent skies and, get to watch introductions of our favorite players. And, these guys live for this too. They come in from Florida and they're ready to see the fans and, just it's a great time of year. And I will say this, we might see one of the most exciting baseball seasons that we've seen in a long time. All these guys had time to rest after the shortened seasons. Hopefully the pitchers are – my brother made a good point on the show a while back. Go back to that show, Annalise show. Don't think for a minute. These pitchers have to ramp up again. They have to get to where they need to be. We're not going to see guys throwing 9 innings right away.
Yeah.
And I just think with baseball coming, we know that our shows now are going to be a lot of baseball. And we talked about it and some NBA and some NFL as we get to the draft. So, Derek, it's always a pleasure, and I love the eye black. If the people can't see it on on podcast, I love the eye black.
Yeah. Maybe go check it out if you're just listening.
Check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, this has been a long culmination. We did a couple of hot stove episodes that people might have checked out in the off season during football season, and then we did all around the diamond pretty much. I think we didn't quite get to outfield, but because of the NCAA tournament, we couldn't quite get there. But any old videos, feel free to go check them out. They're all out there. All 6 divisions, more in depth if you want to see those, as well as the top 5 players at each position. Get yourself ready for the 2021 baseball season starting on April 1st. We hope you enjoyed, and it was a pleasure bringing everything to you. We hope that maybe you can go out and actually go to a baseball game. I'm sure some of you out there who listen and watch might have some tickets already. So I know most places are 15 to 20% capacity, except for if you go to Texas. Apparently they're letting full capacity in, but I'm just going to say we don't have any Texas fans out there, but maybe you get to see a baseball game. Maybe AAA comes back and you get to see one there. But we hope you enjoy the 2021 baseball season. It's been a pleasure bringing you these previews, as well as our ultimate overview of the MLB. For Joe Azalina, I am Derek Cano. Thank you as always, everyone, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Everyone stay safe and take care.